Are you hungry?
Give me something good.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Görgött. Tonight, it's dark outside, we're making pink bread. We're kind of deep fat frying pink bread, and we're serving it with a stracciatella from Burrata and a wonderful, spicy, garlicky, oniony oil. We're gonna top it with some herbs. But before we have a look at the ingredients, if you're not doing so yet, do me the favor, hit that subscribe button and check the bell icons to get notifications when new episodes are online. But now let's have a look. And as you can see, there's not that many ingredients on the board. We have our burrata. Now the stracciatella from the burrata is the inside, so we'll take the outside away and pour the inside out. We have our oil. We have our bing bread, or our dough for the bing bread, and we have a bit of coriander. I'll first show you how I made these bing breads. For our bing bread dough, we need 500 grams of flour, plain white flour, 250 grams of water. In that water, I've dissolved 2 grams of dry yeast. We need, which one is it? That's the sugar. We need 12 grams of sugar, 8 grams of salt, about 38 grams of oil, neutral oil, and 25 grams of honey. And that all goes into here, and then we mix it there. We'll just pour everything in. For the honey, it's sometimes good to have a spoon to help. That's all our ingredients in here. You need a dough hook. Get this set up properly. And now you just need, not too fast, but also not too slow, until it's a nice dough. Probably takes about 3, 4, 5 minutes maybe. We'll see when we're done. That's enough. Get this out, get the hook out. And now we're going to let this rest for about half an hour. Let it rise. So cover it. I'll just use some cling film. And once this is rested, we're going to portion it. Portion it, roll it, and then let it rest again. Just cover it like this so that it doesn't dry out. See in about half an hour. It should about double in size. So maybe that's a bit longer, a bit shorter, depending on air temperature, humidity, and things like that. But a good kind of eye measurement that it has doubled. See in a bit. This took about 45 minutes, but the dough is ready to portion. We want 50 grams. My eye is not the best. 1 or 2 grams, more or less, doesn't really matter. 51, close enough. And then we want to shape it. Basically like this. Portion your dough. Put it on a tray, just to kind of let it rest, because we're going to let it rise afterwards as well. And make sure to cover it so it doesn't dry out. So I'll see you once we've portioned all of them. There we go. We got 15 out of that. Now we'll let these rise to double in size for another probably 40 minutes. Now, if you're not going to use them straight away, you can make them to this stage and then put them in the fridge, for instance, overnight, and then take them out and use them. So we'll let these go, and then we're basically back to the board. Relatively easy. You can do it the night before. No excuses really, and it's really good. Now let's have a look at how we did the oil. Now for this chili crunch, we're making something a bit different. Well, it's not that different, but we're using both Szechuan pepper and we're using chili. And it goes some onion and garlic and a bit of salt as well. Now we're using a neutral oil. Already put the pot on there to warm up some oil. And let's start with crushing the dried spices. And then we're going to chop the onion and the garlic. So we have our mortar. Put the dry stuff in there, the salt as well. And now we just crush this. That's perfect. It's a bit like pepper gas. When you breathe it in, it will tickle your throat. But that's done and can go into our oil. Excuse me. Now let's cut the garlic and the onion. Start with the onion. And we just want to chop it finely. Like that. That's perfect. Before we make the other one, well, I'm not going to show you the other half, but I'll show you the garlic, and it's just not too fine. Like that is about perfect. So chop up the rest of your stuff, and then we'll move over. Well, we won't move over, but we'll put the stuff in there. So see in a little bit. So we cut what we need. Move the oil over here. We don't want it very hot because it's not gonna, we don't want to deep fat fry. But we'll start with the onion and the garlic. Put that back on the stove. We want it to color a little bit, we want it to crunch up a little bit, and then we'll put in the spicy stuff as well. So see in a bit. We're starting to get a nice golden color on this, so it's time to put in the dry stuff. And put it back in on the stove for a little bit. And now what we want to do is just to let it cool down. It has the perfect color. We don't want it to go much further. Shouldn't be burnt. It already has an amazing smell, and it's going to go so well with this dish. But leave it cool now, and we're back to the board. Again, not difficult, but has a lot of kind of roasting flavors. There's a nice heat there, both from the Szechuan pepper and from the chili. It's a very nice oil. Let's start with getting the inside out from the burrata. So I'll just take them. And you can pretty much just pour it or scrape it a bit. It's so nice and rich. So this is what you want to be left with. You can also do this with a spoon if you want to try to keep your hands clean. So that's what we're eating. This you can chop up and put on your pizza. Now let's chop up the coriander as well. And we're just using the coriander to decorate with, so just finely chop it, stem and all. There's a lot of nice flavors in the stem as well. And if we chop it fine, it doesn't really matter. Perfect. we put that into here. And then, well, I'll show you first what we do with the Bing bread before we fry them, because you can't fry them when they're round. It's a kind of flat bread after all, right? So let's get this cleared up and then I'll show you the Bing bread. Now what you want to do is kind of take them and flatten them from the inside out, like that. So do that with all four, and then we'll move over to the oil and fry them up. So our oil is nice and hot. We'll put in our Bing bread. The goal is nice and golden brown and that it should fluff up nicely. That's ready to turn. Let's see the color. Perfect. Now put this on a paper towel to drip off the fat, and then I'll see you back at the board once we fry the rest. We've done a beautiful Bing bread. You can see the more you flatten them out, the bigger they are at the end. But handmade, so it doesn't really matter. Before we plate up, as always, if you stuck with me this far, there must have been something you enjoyed about this episode. So do me a huge favor and hit that thumbs up button below. Hit the like. It really helps me to reach a wider audience and for them to enjoy what you're enjoying now. So do me that favor. Now let's plate this up. Well, it's not really a lot of plating. We just arrange the breads. Something like that. And we'll take our stracciatella. Like that. Get our garlic, Szechuan pepper, chili and onion crunch on top. And just decorate with a little bit of chopped parsley. And it's a perfect kind of apero dish, or even as a tavolata, part of a starter, something like that. Now let's dig in. I'll get in there, tear a bit apart. This is good just like that. You can try to just go in. You don't even need a spoon. This is easy to say this is heaven. Probably isn't, but it's very good. And it's kind of Italian Asian fusion. Obviously, you have a lot of Asian spices in the oily crunch, but the burrata obviously being Italian. I could eat this all day. And it's perfect for when, like before you start dinner, when you have your guests come over and you have an aperitif or pre-dinner drinks, serve this. They will drink a lot more because they're going to be thirsty, and it's going to be a much more enjoyable evening. I'm going to eat the rest of these by myself now. I'm really going to pig out. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Very easy, but again, very tasty. Before we go, if you're not doing so yet, hit the subscribe button, check the bell icon, you know the drill. Don't forget the like button and leave a comment. That's all I ask. Take care. Bye-bye.